when I was coming up, we had to go outside the city. We had to go travel, go out of town, beat down doors.
Like, this was the first time Bill has ever gone on the set. And he said, here comes the token dirt one. And out of my mouth, I said, F you.
Fans are asking for positive women and, you know, with family and business. It's like, you know, that's what we bring to the show. And yet still it's like, oh, she's boring.
It's my real story. This is really who I am. I build myself off a dollar and a dream without a man's help, without a basketball player.
Particularly the patriarchal boxes that white cisgender males have defined for us should be how we define ourselves.
That's what they were saying on the street. I didn't say it. That's what they were saying on the street. The streets, the avenues, and the boulevard.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are now tuned into another amazing edition of Sanya on Air. I'm your host, Sanya Hudson-Payne, and how do I start off each and every single episode? You guessed it, I have another great show for you. Coming up in just a few short moments, I have the super talented and super smart Dr. Simone of Bravo TV's Married to Medicine. Now, if you're a fan like me, you've been tuned in from season 1, but if you're just learning who Dr. Simone is, trust me, after this conversation, you'll be tuned in every single week. So the focus of our conversation will be, why as a Black woman did she decide to enter into the medical field as an OBGYN doctor, especially when we don't see too many doctors, Black doctors, when Black women walk into those rooms. And we're also going to talk about her presence on Married to Medicine, as well as her co-stars. So make sure that you stay tuned in. But before we bring Dr. Simone into this conversation, do me a quick favor. I need you to subscribe. Sanya on Air streams across every major streaming platform. If you're watching this on YouTube, not only subscribe, but make sure you hit the notification bell. This way, every time I upload an all-new Sanya on Air celebrity interview, unpacking their pivotal moments and milestones, guess who'll be the first ones to know? Guess you. You'll be the first ones to know. So why don't we do this? Why don't we just jump right on into the conversation with Dr. Simone of Bravo TV's Married to Medicine, because I'm excited and you should be excited too. So let's go. Paging Dr. Simone. Paging Dr. Simone.
How are you today?
How are you? You have such a busy day and you're still here.
Yeah, it is amazing. I'm like, that would be my luck. I would have a patient in labor on a Friday. I like to have my Fridays to myself.
Me too. I try to call it low stakes Friday, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way.
It doesn't work out, does it?
Not at all. But you know, I'm so excited to have you in the Sanya on Air studio. But the first thing that I really want to talk about is you being a Black woman in the medical field, something that we rarely see. And so many studies are coming out about the disparaging treatment that women of color are receiving when they go see the doctor. Yeah. So I just want to ask you for some advice for women of color. What should they be looking for when they go see an OBGYN doctor? What are some red flags that indicate this may not be the right doctor for me?
I think the main thing when you go see an OBGYN or any doctor in any specialty for that matter is making sure that you have a doctor that seems like they're not in a rush, that you have a doctor who's answering your questions. Be prepared when you go to the visit. If you're having a concern or a problem, Google it so that you can come in with a list of questions. Have those questions written down. We take our cell phones everywhere. There are notes in the cell phones, but just be prepared, be engaging. Don't be texting on social media during your appointments. And if you have a doctor that is not listening to you, that doesn't want to take the time, it's time to look for a new provider.
Those are good talking points and advice for my listeners, because sometimes we look at you doctors as the gurus, as the gods, and you're going to lead us in the right direction. And like I mentioned, studies are coming out that women of color just aren't receiving the treatment that they deserve. Right. So I'm a seasoned woman of a particular age. I am 51 years old and proud.
I'm older than you. I'm older than you.
And you look good, girl. You look good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So what should women who are in their 50s, what type of life changes should we be on the lookout for?
Woo, my favorite subject, women over 50. So first of all, we want to make sure that we are getting in to see a primary care provider as well as our OBGYN. If you have a history of normal pap smears, you can do pap smears every 3 to 5 years. If you're changing sexual partners, going through a divorce, going through a breakup, getting a new sexual partner, you need to protect yourself against HIV, syphilis, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, gonorrhea, chlamydia, human papillomavirus. Those are just some of the things you need to be protecting yourself, but you need to be actively with him using condoms for 6 to 12 months before you allow that condom to come off. But making sure that your cholesterol is good, your body mass index and your weight is good, your EKG is normal, your blood pressure is normal, your blood sugar and hemoglobin A1C are normal. You want to make sure that as you are headed into menopause or through menopause, which means no more periods, that you're having a talk with your gynecologist about, you know, should you get a bone scan, taking calcium every day to make sure that you don't develop bone loss. Those are some of those type of conversations. Over 40, you need your mammogram every year. Breast cancer is 1 in 8 in this country, whether it runs in your family or not. And you just want to make sure that mentally you're in the best place you could be, whether or not you need to increase your exercise, need to be on a multivitamin, you need to be eating healthier as we're aging. Sometimes you just might need to sit down with a therapist because work is too stressful and you need to figure out how to de-stress from work.
Yeah, you know, you ran a long list of things that we should be looking out for, and I am already extremely tired because it's a lot. No, but this is information that we need to know. But there is one topic that my friends and I are always discussing, trying to find tips and remedies and solutions for, and it's these doggone hot flashes.
Yes.
What can you tell us about those?
I love talking about hot flashes, so you're in the right place. But first of all, you want to decrease your caffeine intake. You want to decrease your alcoholic beverages because those are helping to make hot flashes more aggressive. You want to make sure, again, that you're exercising and you're eating healthy. You want to decrease those complex carbohydrates like bread, sweets, pasta, rice. Those are all things that make hot flashes worse. You can consider getting supplements like black cohosh to see if they will help your hot flashes. Soy supplements, if you don't have soy in your diet, will help your hot flashes. Drinking more cold water will help your hot flashes. Keeping a little mini fan around will help you in your personal summer. And then if none of those things are working, sit down, have a conversation with your gynecologist about whether or not you need more aggressive therapy with actual medication to help the hot flashes.
Those are all great tips because I thought that I had it figured out with the hot flashes, but those things that you mentioned that I should not be doing, I'm doing everything that you said not to do.
Yes, you have to cut back on that. You do. And you know that if you're going to be at a holiday party and you're going to have a cocktail, you also need to have some ice water nearby.
Yeah.
Those are just some of the things you need to do.
Great tips.
And dress cooler, sexier.
Yeah. You see, I have a little tank top.
Layering is excellent, but they have all kind of cooling sheets and cooling blankets now for your bed. And I say go to bed in your birthday suit so that you don't have to wake up with the night sweats, right?
Yes.
Right.
So these are all great tips, tools, resources, because I'm finding that this conversation for women over 50, we're not really having them in a transparent and candid way. So I really rely upon your expertise because I'm a super, super fan of you, Dr. Simone.
Thank you. Thank you
so
much.
You for the tips and the solutions. So we're going to just jump right into it because I know that so many of my listeners are tuned in to Married to Medicine every single week.
Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And I am tuned in, let's say about 8:40, just sitting there waiting for
Cool.
20 minutes. Like, let's go. Every single Sunday.
Thank you.
No problem. Season 10 just started, and we're seeing you and your husband, Cecil, in kind of a conundrum with your young adult children. You feel as if they should move out. He feels as if they should stay home. Now, I have an adult daughter as well, and we're going through the same thing. How are you and Cecil navigating parenting with two different types of opinions and approaches?
Mm-hmm. We have totally different parenting styles, but because he's a male and because his mother spoiled him, he's relating to them and he's wanting to continue to spoil them. I'm more the mean mom, trying to get them to understand that we're not going to always be here. And they need to be prepared for this thing we call life and be able to financially support themselves. And the sooner they're able to financially support themselves, the better, right? That I'll be feeling and off their backs. But I have finally come to that place in my life where I'm allowing Cecil to parent however he wants to parent. I'm going to parent however I want to parent. And I try to do it in a way where we're not at each other's necks. Mm. It's hard because I want to choke them out sometimes.
Because how many years have you two been married?
27 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
27 years.
It isn't easy. It isn't easy.
But the other thing is, it's just taking this generation longer to get it figured out for the majority of them. And I just have to let them be on their journey and just have patience and not try to overthink everything and not try to control their every move. But I'm going to tell you, like my therapist told me one day, honey, let them be on their own journey. Anything you don't want to pay for, just say no.
Exactly. And that's the phase of life that I'm in as a mother to a young adult daughter. I'm like, just go right ahead. I'm choosing my arguments, my battles, focusing on my mental health and my pH balance too.
Yeah.
So, okay, we talked about the parenting and we kind of broached upon your relationship with your husband, and we saw the ups and downs of a marriage every season of Married to Medicine. And at one point in time in the season, you two were going to write a book and then you stopped. Can you please tell my listeners, what was the reason for you halting the book? Because we were excited to read it.
Yes. Cecil and I came up with this bright idea about writing a couples book and sharing with other couples about our journey and some of the tools that we've used to make it. But as you can see, we still have struggles that we have not been able to get over. Like our parenting styles, they're different. And we're not ever able to come to an agreement. And I made a decision last year that I didn't want to write a book or do anything that might actually tear us apart. We just needed to continue to strive to come together and work on our marriage. And we really didn't need to be adding any stress or strain. And when you're working on a project together, there's stress because we had more disagreements, even as simple as what the title of the book was going to be. And so I threw the towel in and was like, I don't need another thing for us to disagree over.
Yes.
We'll be fine without it.
So being on the show and hearing the audience's reactions or feedback, was that another reason why you two decided not to write the book, because it was an additional stressor?
The audience is really not a stressor for us. The audience is so supportive of our relationship, and they give their feedback, and I am always open to constructive feedback. I often hear from the fans that they don't like the way I talk to Cecil, honey. But I'm like, little do you know, he deserves the way I'm talking to him. But we have so much love and support from our fans, especially our day ones who've been watching us from day one. I really wish we could have given them a book. I felt like the fans were eager for us to write a book. I didn't want to put my marriage through another stressful thing of trying to get this book out. And I'm busy as an OBGYN, as a wife, as a business owner. Honey, I didn't have time. And he was stressing me about time.
So if your time frees up, do you think you and Cecil will revisit the conversation of this book? And I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. Because like I said, we don't hear from too many seasoned women talking about the challenges and how to navigate through those challenges so that you can be successful in any space. So because we rely and we trust and we love you, we kind of look at you and Cecil like, okay, they have it together. What are the ingredients to their success? So if time frees up, will you two revisit the conversation?
I think we can revisit the conversation, but again, I think people just need to understand that a lot of what we go through, how we feel, how we navigate is normal. And that feeling of wanting to file for a divorce is normal. But like you saw my breakdown, I didn't have enough sense, enough self-discipline to not go through with filing for a divorce. That's where you want to be able to stop yourself. And again, we will get to a place one of these days where I think we will be able to share either in couples conferences or even a couples book. And we've talked about doing podcasts and doing couples conferences. I just don't have time.
I understand. Because, you know, your relationship with your husband, Cecil, like it resonated with me. My parents were married for 51 years. And I would always compare their relationship if they were married to Fred Sanford and Aunt Esther.
Right.
But from the outside looking in, people would think like, oh, that's a toxic relationship. And I'm just like, no, honey, they've been married.
No, they make it work.
Exactly. So we need to see those nuances because it's okay. So, you know, thank you.
It is okay
with your marriage on Married to Medicine. Now let's talk about some of your castmates because this is like a smorgasbord of different type of personalities, but it works so good. So let's talk about Dr. Heavenly first.
Let's do it.
So before like last season, season 9, the cast had really got on Dr. Heavenly about her online vitriol. And she promised that she was going to do better. But now that we are in season 10, I'm still seeing the gossiping on the show, on social media, on different podcasts. Where do you two stand in your relationship? Because she said some hurtful things about you in the past. Have you two been able to kind of come together and resolve the deficits in your friendship?
Heavenly and I are doing much better. But I think part of it is just understanding she loves being on social media. Her fans love for her to be on social media. And she's giving her unfiltered thoughts and opinions on social media, right? And the thing is, I try not to tune in when she's on there and she's being negative, especially when she's being negative towards me. But I try not to tune in on that and focus on that. Deep down, Heavenly is a good person. She just so darn messy. She's so messy.
I get it. I have a friend.
Know, every now and again, I call her up like, I heard you say it. Yes. You know, or somebody will send me a clip or something she said. But you have to let people be who they are, accept them for who they are. And we all have our good and bad traits. If I were a perfect person, she would have nothing to talk about me, now would she? Right?
True.
So that's we all have to accept each other for our good and bad traits. And we have to do that all year round in every relationship in our lives.
That's true. Accepting your friends or associates for who they are.
Who they are. If I called Heavenly right now and was like, girl, I need you. My child is sick. Could you help me? She would help me out. If you need her and need a favor, she has a good heart. She's there for you. He just got that old messy mouth, child.
I know. But I'm glad that you mentioned that because, you know, sometimes television, we get the snippets of the relationship, the toxicity of it all. And I'm glad that you cleared it up, that you two are two friends, no matter what you may see on television, true friends and true sisterhood. We work it out and we accept our friends for who they are.
Right.
So now accepting another cast member for who they are, a latest and newest addition to the show is, what's her name? Letitia or Sweet Tea.
Yes.
She's been sharing the nuances of her relationship with Dr. Greg. What advice do you have for women who talk about the ups and downs of their relationship with other women and other women they don't even know? What advice do you have?
So that would have been my key point of advice to Letitia, which is, girl, you don't know Dr. Heavenly that well, and Heavenly is going to run on down to the YouTube channel and dog you out. Don't do it. Don't give her any information until you get to know her and you can honestly decide what you want to share about yourself to Heavenly. And I think that Sweet Tea was just too naive. Too naive.
Has she learned her lesson, though? Has she learned her lesson so far, though?
She has, but she's mad about the lesson that she learned. And what I'm trying to talk to her about is so much. It's just understand the lesson, accept your part that you played in the lesson, and then understand Heavenly is who she is. It ain't that deep. Move on.
Yeah. So in the upcoming episode, and I'm super, super excited for it. Like I told you, I'm a true diehard fan. My daughter and I, she's 28 years old. I have her tuned into Married to Medicine.
I love that.
Sunday at 9 p.m. on Bravo.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. Good TV is undeniable. So you don't have to thank me. Like I should be thanking you for giving me good TV. So on the upcoming episode, Sweet Tea, she's going to talk about the disconnect between her and Toya. I'm surprised. What is she going to reveal? Can you share that with my audience?
Well, you know, Toya bossy. She bossy. And Toya is like a big sister to T. And she's my little sister. But Toya's so bossy. And the way that she tries to help you sometimes, if you don't know her, it can be harsh. And so again, Sweet Tea is still learning all of us. And that's where the disconnect is understanding people's intention, and then just understanding that we got baseline personality traits that you got to work around. I just think that Sweet Tea is still learning the different nuances in terms of our personalities and how we roll. And once she gets that down, she will understand Toya's heart, Toya's intention, and they're going to be fine.
Got it. Yeah, you know, friendships are hard
to do.
Exactly. I think when people first meet me, I'm straight cookie chaser, like straight chaser. You know, it is what it is. And it's hard for people to acclimate to my personality. But once they know who I am, they fall in love with me, though.
That's so good. You know, but ultimately just be yourself, and the people who should migrate and gravitate to you, they will. Everybody else can keep it moving.
Exactly. Show up authentically. So that's another tip.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about Miss Quad. Why did Miss Quad show up to that bachelorette party? She knew she was dead wrong for doing that. Did you talk to her about why did she make that decision? Being led by Phaedra Parks, she should have known better. Why?
Well, here is the thing. She should have known better, but I think Quad was hurt and disappointed that we, as her group of friends, were even allowing Letitia in the mix. And so she wanted to make a statement, and I'll be darned. She made an appearance that made a statement.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, Dr. Simone, if I was your friend and, you know, you're building relationships with my ex's new boo, we have a problem, Houston. We have a problem.
Yes. Well, make sure if you're my friend and you don't want me building relationships with your ex's new boo, that you come around and you don't put me on ice. Because when you put me on ice, girl, I got you on ice and I'm out here doing other things. Rolling on.
I know that Miss Quad had you on ice for a few seasons. Has the ice melted? Were you all able to sit together and just drink some fine champagne? Has the ice melted?
Well, I need for you to continue to tune in, because you will get to see where Quad and I, where we arrived to, at what place that is. You have to treat people like you want to be treated. And I love being a mirror to people.
Okay, I'm gonna
and
give
Quad
you.
would be no exception.
I get it. I get it. I'm reading between the lines.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, because we briefly mentioned her name, Phaedra Parks, who is a new addition to Married to Medicine. We saw her on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Do you think her joining the cast of Married to Medicine is good for the sisterhood and the relationships amongst the women, or do you think they just brought her on because she's just great TV?
I think Phaedra superficially knew all of us anyway. It was an easy transition. And she's a professional in this community in Atlanta. We all knew her. She knew of us. And so I think it was an easy transition. And Phaedra has a doctor boyfriend. And so naturally, hey, if I were on the outside looking in, I'd want to be a part of this group too.
Me too. I want to be a part of the group.
All you need, honey, is a doctor boyfriend. We got you.
Well, I'm gonna find one. So, you know, I just have a few more questions, like one or two. I want to talk about Mariah Huq. Is that how you pronounce her last name? Huq?
Huq.
Yes. So she was previously on the cast. We saw the relationships between her and the woman kind of dissolve on television. I don't know what it's like in real life, but she is still an executive producer. With the executive producer title, is she still connected to you as women in a positive way?
Mm-hmm. I would say that she's not connected to us by her choice and by ours.
Oh. So it's just strictly the relationship between what happens behind the scene, bringing the show together, but not with the cast.
Correct.
So do you two have a friendship or no? No.
We do not have a friendship any longer. I am not harboring any ill feelings towards her. I haven't heard that she's harboring any ill feelings toward me. Her daughter entered Spelman this year for college. I continue to follow her on social media. She continues to follow me. We just don't have any contact. Sometimes you have, you know, there's a season where people are in your life, and when they're gone, they're gone. You don't reconnect, and we have not reconnected, but I'm not harboring any ill feelings towards Mariah Huq.
Got it. But that's, you know, another grown woman-ish. Just because we have to separate as friends, it doesn't mean that there's any animosity. It doesn't mean there's any tension. It just means we're going into
our time has passed. Our road ended.
Exactly. The church service has ended.
And can we just say amen and move on?
Amen. So, you know, I believe that whatever experience that you embark upon, you're supposed to grow in some capacity. What type of growth have you seen in yourself being a cast member of Bravo TV's Married to Medicine?
I'm so glad you asked that question. I have learned how not to hold grudges with my friendships and in my marriage, to let some of that stuff go and to be a less petty person. I am so petty. And I had no idea how petty I am until I watched myself on national TV. And just still trying to be a good steward of friendships and to nurture and honor the friendships that are good to me.
I love it. And, you know, I didn't mention her before, but since you talked about nurturing the friendships, I am so happy as a viewer to see the relationship and friendship between you and Dr. Jackie.
Absolutely.
The lunches that you have where you're carving out time just to talk, that serves us so well. So Dr. Simone, Paige and Dr. Simone, keep doing what you are doing, because you are so inspiring. I mean, personally, professionally, we're watching and we're rooting you on. So for those who aren't tuned in to Married to Medicine every single Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, why should they be tuned in?
They need to tune in because we have real relationships. The OGs, we've been together for 10 years, and we're showing you how to navigate in your relationship or with your marriage. We also sharing our challenges with these kids. We can learn from each other. So just tune in, get on social media, and let us know your thoughts and comments.
We will continue to support. We will continue to cheer you all on. Dr. Simone, thank you so much for blessing and gracing the Sanya on Air space. Like I said, I'll be tuned in every single Sunday. But like I said, even though the show starts at 9, I'm sitting there at about 8:45, just patiently waiting for the amazingness of you.
We appreciate you. And thank you for interviewing me today. Truly appreciate it.
Dr. Heavenly, you go back to, no, I didn't call you Dr. Heavenly.
It's okay. For today, it's okay.
Dr. Simone, you go back to being amazing. And I know you have a baby to deliver. Yes. So because you carved out time, once again, I am truly grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good holiday season.
You too. Take care. Continue blessings.
All righty. Bye-bye.
So there you have it. Dr. Simone, I can't believe I called her Dr. Heavenly. Been a long day. There you have it, Dr. Simone. So we talked about so many things. We talked about if you are a woman over 50, let me tell you something. Our parents, I'm talking to the women who are in their 50s. Our parents didn't talk about the hot flashes that will come. They didn't talk about making sure that your pH balance was okay. So if you are sexually active, excuse me, child, I'm burping on. If you're sexually active and you have another partner, wait, what did she say? 6 to 9 months before you take off that condom? Because some of y'all just be raw dogging it. You meet him and, you know, he tells you everything that you want to hear. And then, you know, it's just like, no, protect yourself. Because like I said, like Dr. Simone said, changing sexual partners, it can interrupt your pH balance. And not even talking about these diseases out there. You could just walk by a person nowadays and it just seems like, you know, you're infected with something if it's not COVID-19. We talked about women of a certain age, parenting, young adult kids. It's not easy. Like I mentioned before, I have a daughter who is 28 years old, and this level of parenting is so different. But what I've learned to do, I truly pick my battles, because at that age, and Dr. Simone's 2 boys, they are in college, but I believe they're like they're in their early 20s. I will say that. The conversations are different. Let them figure it out. Parents, you've done your job. The only thing that we are there to do is support. And sometimes there will be some corrections or feedback, advice, don't you do that moments. But for the most part, let them fly. We've done so many years of the parenting, even though the parenting doesn't stop, but we have to start to decrease the level of parenting, but still making sure that we are there. She mentioned also about some of her cast members and exploring relationships, navigating the relationships, and also understanding that allow the people that you call friends to be their authentic selves. I was going to say something, but then I'm going to throw a friend under the bus, so I won't say it. Cherish the moments where there's ups and downs in friendships with, you know, with females, in relationships, intimate relationships. Just allow grace and mercy. Allow people to be who they are. If it's not too much of an interruption to who you are, allow people to navigate through the relationships as themselves. And I truly do respect when I see Dr. Simone and Dr. Jackie carving out time during lunch to sit outside and just talk and catch up. I'm so glad they are back to a better place. But when I tell you this season 10 of Married to Medicine, it is truly giving me, and I'm sure you as audiences, everything that we need. We don't really see seasoned women, especially women of color, on television and hearing these candid conversations. So this is why I'm tuned in every single week. And like I said, our parents didn't have the conversations with us, you know, as women who are over 50s. This is why I introduced Married to Medicine to my daughter, because now it fosters the conversation. It opens the doors for a conversation so that we can have these teachable moments about, child, when you get about 40 something, the private summers. So now she because at first she didn't understand why I had to have one leg out under the cover and the window open and the AC. Now she kind of gets it, because now she's able to witness other women going through the same thing on television, courtesy of Married to Medicine. So great job. Now, when it comes to the question that I asked her about Phaedra, or was it Quad? I would say Miss Quad and Phaedra, you know, really being great additions to the sisterhood, or is it just because they are great TV? I think it's a combination of both. Producers know. They know who to put on the show and who not to put out the show, because the goal of every single producer is to make sure that people are tuned in. So Phaedra and Miss Quad, darling, they are giving everyone what they need. They are adding more flair to the conversations, to the narratives on Married to Medicine, even though the flair, you know, it isn't always what we want to see, you know, but it is great TV. So make sure, like I said, that you are tuned in to Married to Medicine each and every single Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Bravo Network. Also, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to every Sanya on Air streaming platform. Sanya on Air streams across every major streaming platform. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the notification button. So this is what I'm going to do. Sometimes I, talk about celebrity news and all those things, but it's been a busy day. And I'm sure you have a busy day too. So until next time, my love, smooches, take care.